Let's be.
Hey everybody, welcome into a Week 7 episode of Western New York High School Football Weekly. We're calling a bit of an audible, doing this on Thursday instead of Wednesday. And as you can see, I have hair, so I'm not Frank Wolf. I'm actually Francis Beck, but I'm still along here with Tom Prince. He is one of the, I want to say, try to keep the show true to what it is. You know, one of the remaining constants here on the show. Tom, I'm excited to be here.
Listen, it's always special when I have Francis here, period. It's always special then, no doubt about it. But we're excited. No, this is a big week. Boy, I'm going to tell you, Francis, wait till you hear some of the stats that came through this week. We had some mind-blowing experiences this week.
We had some record-breaking experiences.
Listen, all over the place. So when we actually talk about who we chose the Freak of the Week, it was a tough one, to say the least.
All right. Well, with that, why don't we start with the big dogs, AA. Not too many huge games. There's one huge game, but this playoff size, which we'll get into in a second, is really starting to settle. But the game of the week in AA and pretty much all of Section 6 was that Clarence OP game. You were there. You kept texting me throughout, and I couldn't imagine what the look was on your face. You must have been grinning the whole time.
It wasn't even grinning. I was floored because whenever you thought, okay, we just saw it. We've seen enough. Boom, like he got hit with something completely more. Like it had everything from onside kicks to turnovers to interceptions to fantastic, amazing plays. It was just unbelievable to witness. It really was a fun game to be a part of. And no doubt that we saw an amazing game. And, you know, when you normally hear about our games truly live up to what they are, you know, when you say, this is going to be a good one, and we get there and like, yeah, this is going to be a great one. You know, no, this was a great one. Trust me, it was big. The performances, first of all, by Scott Raymond, 23 carries, 184 yards, 5 touchdowns. 5 of them.
Wow.
Came from Scott Raymond. And I'm going to tell you, one of them was 24 yards, right? That gave them the lead in the very end. I watched him bust, I can't tell you, it had to be at least 5 tackles, where he busted through and got to that end zone where he was saying this, no one's going to stop me. He was a truck out there. It was unbelievable what he accomplished, and which is why he's definitely going to be one of the guys we're going to talk about for that Freak of the Week. Garrett White, leader, 8 for 11, 147 yards, plus ran the ball for 116 yards himself in a touchdown. The guy who I thought was the unsung hero of the game, you know, that guy that doesn't get the press that the other guys got, was Julius Perry. And I told you, remember, I couldn't remember his name on there. I said, it's number. Will you look at the number for me? This was Julius Perry. 12 carries for 53 yards, 2 receptions for 60 yards, was head-to-head with Dylan Evans most of the night. Just was a phenomenal player right there for Clarence, and Clarence comes up big with an absolute big one. But I don't want to take away also from Orchard Park. I mean, they come down 2 scores, right? Got an onside kick. And Ben Casella, it's hands down, you may say right now Ben Casella could be the best quarterback right now when you look statistically in Western New York.
1,900 yards, he leads Section 6 in passing.
And who's the closest to him?
No Willoughby. He's about 200. From South Park, about 200 behind. 200
yards behind. I mean, just think about the difference right there. I mean, just shows.
That's a game for a lot of quarterbacks, 200 yards.
Listen, to get on Tom's top performances that I now release every single week, you need to get 253 yards to get on there. So look at that. He's almost a full game ahead of everybody right there. Just absolutely amazing. But Orchard Park Casella, 412 yards, 3 touchdowns, 1 interception. And then he had 4 carries for 20 yards and 2 touchdowns. He had 5 touchdowns accountable himself. But the part that impressed me more than anything, that I've been most impressed with Ben Casella all year, 5 different receivers. Actually, he had a 6 that he hit for only 1. But Keegan, 6 receptions, 179 yards and a touchdown. Roman Casella, 6 receptions, 89 yards. Copeland, a reception for 59 yards and a touchdown. Dylan Evans, 4 receptions, 53 yards, and a touchdown. And Adam Velasquez, 3 receptions for 32 yards. How many times do you hear it spread around like that?
Well, we can look at the stats right now. Machiavelli leads Section 6 in receiving yards. Dylan Evans is number 4 in the entire section.
And that went back.
Top 5 receivers.
That went back. He was 3rd last week. So that went back, and again, because he had 53 yards. And because of, you saw Julius Perry that was on him, and those two were going at it in this game. And I'm telling you, and you got to remember is now you've also got 2 more opponents coming up that aren't in the top half of the AA for Orchard Park. Do you see him catch up and go for even more?
You very well could.
And that's led by your quarterback right now, finding the open man. And I'll tell you, that's the evils that we talk about playing Orchard Park is, yeah, you want to go ahead and go after Evans? Machiavelli's ready to go. Copeland's ready to go, right? Casella's ready to go. Velasquez ready. They're all ready to go. There's so many targets. It's just unbelievable to watch what they've done offensively. What they've got to make sure they do, Orchard Park, if they've got any chance of doing anything in the postseason, they got to stop the run. You got to stop the run. You got to figure it out.
Yeah, especially if you face a team like Bennett. Maybe they figure themselves out. We know that Orchard Park got a big win against him a couple weeks ago, but Bennett continues to figure out their running game. That's going to be tough for Orchard Park.
Listen, you got Allen at Bennett. You got Micah Harry over at Lancaster, right? That you're going to be talking about. You got Scott Raymond at Clarence, right? I mean, those are 3 big running backs. And then, you look about, they play Jamestown too, and you've got possibly, Butera is one of the best running backs, period, in Western New York. You can't give up 5-6 touchdowns, period, to a running back. You can't do it. And that's right now the difference in the losses for Orchard Park. They've got to be able to figure that out.
They do. The other game in AA that we should keep an eye on wasn't as close, but I think kind of important for Lancaster. They get the win over North. They were coming off that tough loss to Bennett last week. They bounced back. And I think this is what we expected, knowing that coaching staff at Lancaster. But they still had to do it. They couldn't be a given, we'll take care of business against North. They had to do it still.
Oh, no doubt. I mean, and Micah Harry does it again. 112 yards, 3 touchdowns for him, right? I mean, he has just been unbelievable to watch running the ball for Lancaster. He has been an absolute, another one, a machine running the ball. You've got right now that 3-headed monster inside the AA conference. When I talk about Allen at Bennett, Harry over at Lancaster, and now Raymond over at Clarence, unbelievable. And now you're going to see is, let's talk, now comes the game. Right? This is going to be interesting to me. And the reason why this Clarence-Lancaster game to me is so interesting is they're both big, heavy run teams. Right? So who is going to stop the run? Period. Whoever stops it, it could be on 1-2 possessions. Stop it. Could be the difference in the game. And I'll tell you, to me right now, any advantage to either team, any advantage, and trust me, I'm not sitting here saying one team's going to win or the other because of the fact of you got a great coaching staff, and we already know Lancaster's going to be ready. They're going to be ready. But I'll tell you, the only difference to me right now in this game is the quarterback position. And to me, at quarterback right now between both those teams, you got to give the slight edge to Garrett White over at Clarence.
Yeah,
right? That to me right now is the difference in this game. Now, all bets are off if one doesn't stop the other as far as running game goes, right? If Scott Raymond doesn't have a big game, Clarence doesn't win, right? Because guess what? Harry on the other side's going to have a big game then, right? One of them's going to have a big game. But what I'm saying is they're both great running backs right there, right? Harry's a great running back, and so is Raymond. So 100%, I'm there. I'm with you guys, right? I'm sold. I'm ready to go. The difference to me right now is, can Lancaster throw the ball, and then can Garrett White have the game he needs to do? That to me right now could be the difference in this game.
Yeah, and that's certainly the game of the week. And you look at the games in AA, certainly the game of the week between Lancaster and Clarence, and I think that will pretty much decide the 2 seed in the AA playoffs.
I mean, we've pretty much almost solidified the entire AA division.
Yeah, it's going to be, unless Bennett loses to Hutch Tech or their next game, who I don't know who it's against, they pretty much have the number 1 seed. The big thing for them is, 1, Orchard Park, the team they lost to, has 2 losses, and 2, even if they didn't lose, they would have had, The other team that would have it came down to Orchard Park Clarence, and Bennett would have had either tiebreaker in that case. So
No. They wouldn't have the tiebreaker over Orchard Park.
Yes, they would.
No, they would have had it if it was a three-way
Yeah,
tie.
three-way
still.
tie.
Yes.
Yeah.
They wouldn't have had it, of course, if it was head-to-head with Orchard Park, because Orchard Park had the win. They would have had it if it was Bennett, Lancaster, Orchard Park in there is what they would have had it as.
Yeah.
They would have still needed it. But again, they still had to go out and defeat Clarence this week, which is there. But what happens now, because Orchard Park, Clarence wins, right? Clarence has already lost to Bennett. Lancaster has already lost to Bennett. So Bennett seals it up. There's no way they can't lose that unless, even then, like you also fall in. They actually can lose a game and still fall into a three-way tiebreaker and still take the number one seed.
Yes, it depends on who with. And I would have to do the math on that, but yeah, probably.
Well, they got head-to-head wins against both of them.
Yes, if it's Bennett, I mean.
If it's Bennett. If it's Bennett, Lancaster, and Clarence.
Yeah, if they fall in a tie with Orchard Park, then we'll have to go back to.
That would be the only way if Orchard Park, but that would mean everybody would have to have two losses right there.
Yeah,
that would be tough to see happen. But listen, anything's possible. But you think right now it's going to be Bennett 1, winner of Lancaster Clarence is 2, loser 3. Okay, because they both now will have head-to-head wins over Orchard Park. Orchard Park right now is battling for the 4-5 position as they now take on Will North next week. Is their game. If whoever wins that game, we should see as the number 4 seed, loser as the number 5 seed, and it looks like 6 and 7, barring any other victories. Niagara Falls would be number 6, Hutch Tech would be number 7, as we already saw Niagara Falls with the big win over Hutch Tech. Yeah. So no doubt we're seeing the double A's shape up. Great week. Clarence, unbelievable. Hats off to you. That was a big win. They were ready for this one. They went out there and did it. And you thought, and listen, what I didn't tell everybody about, you know what Clarence did in this game? Stopped Orchard Park twice on the 1-yard line. One time they did it with 4 downs. They did it with 4 downs and stopped them on the 1. The second time was when time ran out right there at the end of the game, where time ran out with Orchard Park on the 1. That's an impressive victory right there for Clarence, and you got to give them right there. Hats off to you. Great job.
Let's go on to A North. I think the big game was the more lopsided one. It was Grand Island taking care of business against Lockport, and really they didn't solidify because we'll talk about it in a bit, but Sweet Home can still get that top spot, but they really show that they're going to be very hard to beat in A North.
Been saying it for weeks. I've been telling everybody, ooh, everyone looks at Grand Island's to me is the top game in the North. It really is. I really think right now they are head and shoulders in that division. But can anything happen? Absolutely. But I really believe they really have the punch there that goes. Horvath, 183 yards, 3 touchdowns. Their quarterback, Brian Bielek, 15 carries, 130 yards, and 2 touchdowns. Tyler Figliola, 4 receptions, 60 yards, 2 touchdowns. They spread the ball nicely. They're not a one-dimensional team. They can do it multiple ways. Lockport has been doing it predominantly by the pass. You saw Green again, 271 yards and a touchdown, and his receivers have been big for him, as we've seen multiple 100-yard passes for those receivers there in Lockport. I absolutely wanted to see what Lockport had. You had to come up big in a game like this if you're going to take that next step and be one of the teams that are going to compete for a sectional title. And Grand Island just came out and said, no, listen, we're the team right now.
Another good showing was Star Point. They had 2 wins in, I think, 4 or 5 days, and they're now tied for second in that division. They have a big game Saturday as they travel to Kenmore West to take on the Blue Devils, and that game it has pretty much a lot of playoff implications.
Absolutely.
I think Star Point would clinch with a win because they would go to 5-1, and Kenmore West would all but guarantee themselves a playoff spot. And you talk about the loser in this game is probably going to be in some crazy 3-way tie. I'll tell you what, in A North, because there's so many teams, you don't play 2 opponents. So we're going to probably have a 3-way tie between teams that haven't even played each other, which is a rabbit hole I'm not even willing to go down. I feel bad for whoever is in charge of figuring that. I tried to look at the rule book to figure out what it was, but it's a whole rabbit hole. It'll be fun to figure out. But yeah, that's going to be tied. So Kenmore West, Star Point, the key for both teams is win. You're pretty much in the postseason.
Yep, no doubt. Hey, listen, let's talk about Star Point, right? Carson Marcus, 170 yards, 2 touchdowns, and interception. Jason Richardson, 19 carries for 119 yards. And Nate Lee, 5 receptions for 119 yards. Star Point looks good. They faced Niagara Wheatfield in that one. Fletcher leading the way at quarterback for Niagara Wheatfield, 133 yards, a touchdown and interception. Carried the ball for 40 yards and a TD himself. Tayshawn Matthews, 14 carries, 62 yards. And Sean Watson, 9 receptions for 69 yards and a touchdown in that one. You know, I think the only thing I really want to talk about in the Ken West game, right, that we've got to address as Ken West, you know, takes care of North Tonawanda 62-36. This is one of the games that you talked about where a record was done, and that was Jermaine Atkins, 13 carries, 13, that's it, for 251 yards and 7 touchdowns. He was absolutely huge in that one. And then Jason Britton in that same game still ran for 101 yards. So you're talking about 352 yards on the ground just between those two. And then North Tonawanda had Dennis Johnson for 11 carries, 126 yards and a touchdown. But the A's performances all over the place on this one. Like you look at the Will South. I thought Will South over West Seneca West was a big win. Will South, ever since that South Park game, has been on fire right there in the A's, and show that they are absolutely a team to be reckoning with in that South Division. And they went 30-15. Christian Dewar with 28 carries, 146 yards and a touchdown. Max Graves, 3 receptions, 84 yards and 2 touchdowns for Will South. And Omarion Thomas for 3 receptions for 63 yards and 2 touchdowns for West Seneca in that one. Frontier, how about the big win over South Park, right? Vinny Monaco carrying it again, 21 carries, 117 yards. Just unbelievable. Willoughby, though, for South Park, you talk about the number 2 quarterback right now, 321 yards, 4 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. Paul has 7 receptions for 104 yards and a touchdown for South Park. The other 2 big performances are still in this division in A. How about the other one that comes from Amherst? Teddy McDuffie Jr., 34 carries, 312 yards, 6 touchdowns in that one for Amherst. And Teddy McDuffie just tearing it up over there at Amherst. And the other one's the man we talk about all the time, right? From Jamestown, as Jamestown wins 47-7, Butera, 13 carries, 246 yards, 5 touchdowns. Oh, wait a second, we're not done. He also has 4 receptions for 92 yards and a touchdown. He brings in 6 touchdowns.
I hope he doesn't play defense. I can't imagine having enough energy after that to play defense.
It's just unbelievable. Some of the performances that came out of the A, to me, were just mind-blowing. They really were. Just to see the running backs, what they're doing out there. And, you know, we're still not even talking about guys like, you know, Hind over at Randolph, right? We're not talking about Dewar over at Depew yet, right? We're not talking about Lewis over at St. Mary's, right? These guys are all having incredible years to boot. We're talking about running backs. But just look at the running backs inside this A division that we talked about. Unbelievable, some of the performances we watched.
All right, let's talk about the playoffs. Unfortunately, you probably heard, I believe that was Sunday night or Monday night, Williams-Elise did forfeit their game against Jamestown, and that clinches the A South division for the Red Raiders. You have, I believe it's tonight. Yeah, I believe it's tonight. It's going to be South Park, Hamburg. That's the Sparks' pretty much last chance.
And I will be leaving here going to that game, as I'll be a part of calling that game there later on.
Yeah, it's the Sparks' last chance. They need to win this week, and then they would need Frontier to then beat Hamburg as well next week. So, but it's a do or die for the Sparks tonight. We know Will South is going to be in. We know Frontier is going to be in. And as I said, Jamestown clinched that top spot. So I think after tonight, or after at least Friday night, we could have a very clear picture of what A South looks like. I think
it could be after tonight, because South Park, Hamburg right now are the 4-5 teams.
You're right. After tonight, we could find out. We'd have a pretty clear picture of what the A South looks like. All right, with that, why don't we take a break? We'll come back. We'll talk about B's, then get into some C's. You're watching Western New York High School Football Weekly right here on Western New York Athletics.
When it's time to sell your home, start with a visit to howardhanna.com. ranked the #1 real estate site for sellers. A few clicks will show you the sales price you can expect for your home. We can get you the most money in the quickest amount of time because we know where the local buyers are and how to reach them. So if it's time to sell your home, visit howardhanna.com today, and we'll match you with a local Howard Hanna agent to sell your home fast.
I love being home.
Avoiding care can lead to worse problems. Don't delay care. We're here for you. Western New York Immediate Care provides quick, quality care for non-emergent injuries and illnesses. Go to wnyImmediatecare.com for more information.
Hey everybody, welcome back to Western New York High School Football Weekly, Episode 7. Now, normally this is the time we bring on a coach. We were trying to get Fredonia coach Greg Sherlock to call in. Fortunately, due to some technical difficulties, we weren't able to get him in, but we're going to try to get him later in the season because they have a great team down in Fredonia. Meanwhile, we have a big game Saturday morning, 10 o'clock, a game that'll pretty much will decide the B North Division. Albion at Western New York Maritime. This game's going to be at Johnny B. Wiley Stadium. And Tom, if it wasn't so early, that's a pretty fun game.
I'm going to be there. I'm the one going that game, so I'll be there again. Hey, listen, this Albion team is going to be fun because we haven't seen a lot of them, right? But no doubt I can't wait to see what the Albion team is. They actually had a chance this week to take on they were in a non-conference matchup. Oh, no. Why am I missing that? I apologize.
Let me see if I can pull it up on my laptop here. Let's see who they beat Cheektowaga 16-14.
Okay.
And they actually came back in that game. Cheektowaga actually had a 14-0 lead in the first quarter, and Albion came back in the second half, scoring 2 touchdowns, 2-point conversions to win it.
So, and I apologize because that page for some reason wasn't in my stuff, and I know I did it, which is what's driving me nuts right there. But here it is. So I apologize. Amari Jones led with 182 yards and 2 touchdowns right there. Jameek Riley, 5 receptions, 105 yards and a touchdown. Javon Jones, 3 receptions, 81 yards and a touchdown. And Jacob Houston leads the way on the ground for 11 carries and 79 yards. Love the balance we're seeing from for Albion right there. But now, here's the one thing, and I will say this, that I truly believe at this point. I don't think Maritime's getting the credit for how good this team really is. I think people have downplayed it. I think people do not realize how strong they are as a B team. And I'm going to just give you the reference where I'm going to go back to Game 1. Game 1, they take on Bennett, which has been rolling everybody, where you can see...
Double A, 2 classes above.
And doing it 35, 40 points. They put 58 up for this week, right? Was it 58 I think they put up this week? And here they do. They gave up 1 touchdown offensively to them. 1. The other one was a special teams one is what it was. They lose 16-0. If you don't think this Maritime team is for real, you're nothing coming there. And really what I say is, you hear me talk about it all the time. When I say in big games, what do I always do? I say I go to the trenches and I want to see the trench play. I want to see what happens. This Maritime team's got good trench play. And they're going to be really tough to be able to be inside that B division. I'm going to tell you that right now. So if anyone thinks that they're out of it just because of the way the season started, you're nuts.
Well, yeah, and I was looking at those state rankings came out. Even like into week 4, Maritime wasn't even ranked in the state. And I was baffled at that. I mean, they played Bennett and then they played Canisius, which is, they're taking care of teams out of state, and I think people just saw the scores. They got scared, but trust me, this Maritime team is absolutely for real.
Yep. And they have a big win over Maryville. They win 30-8 this week. Damian Little with 14 carries, 132 yards and a touchdown. Get ready for this one, all right? Get ready for this one. We're going to talk defense here for a second. LaShawn Braxton, right? 6 tackles, 1 fumble recovery, 6 sacks.
Wow. You know what? A lot of teams don't even keep track of sacks.
Unbelievable.
They are.
And then add David Wright to the mix as David Wright comes up big in that game with 8.5 tackles himself. So it just shows right there how strong you're talking about this team really is. And I'm really going to be excited for this Albion team to come in. Albion's been big so far this season. They now have 2 big games in a row as they've got Maritime, and then they're going to go see Medina.
Okay. The other game in B North. B North might be decided this week as well. 5 o'clock game tomorrow at Highmark Stadium. It's going to be Maryvale versus Burgard. Winner of that game pretty much gets the number 3 seed in the B North division.
Yeah, this is going to be a great one. It really is. Excited to see exactly what happens here, but you're talking about a big game right here. And 2, I think, pretty evenly matched teams right there in Burgard Maryville, where it's a game that could go either way.
And there's a lot of history of that game as well. A lot of back and forth over the years for a while. So that could be a very exciting game. Let's get to B South. We had that game last week. Iroquois, West Seneca's, the top 2 teams in that division. Iroquois won, so they are right now in the driver's seat to take that division. However, Olean, with a win, they could jump up and they could put themselves in a position to take that division as well with a win.
No doubt. And Olean comes up a big win right there this week against Lakeshore. We actually got a chance to call that game, right, where we got a chance to see Olean and Lakeshore. They're led by 2, their quarterback and their running back. I mean, Pittman in that game, 12 carries, 118 yards, 3 touchdowns. They're, again, a team that's getting stronger and stronger as the year goes on. We always say playoff time. Man, Olean is not a team you ever want to see in the playoffs because you know you're going to get someone good.
Yeah, they certainly are. So that's the B division. Let's go into C. C has 3 divisions this year. So a quick reminder, when there's 3 divisions, top 2 teams guaranteed a spot. So division winners go 1 through 3. Second place is 2 through 6. And those third place teams battle it out for the last 2 spots. And right now let's start in C North. We're kind of in a holding pattern in C North. We're waiting for that Medina-Akron game. I believe that's going to be Monday.
It is.
Yeah, Monday. I think Akron was dealing with some COVID issues earlier.
Hey, guys, we're going to send a request out there. I want to send a team out there to come and do that game. So be ready. It's coming.
Yeah, we want to be there for sure. So we're kind of at a holding pattern in C North. Let's go to C Central, where there's a big game happening tonight. It's Depew, Eden North Collins, last 2 undefeated teams in the C Central division. So winner probably takes the top spot in that division.
Listen, that's a team you want to look at right now, too, is 2 very strong running games right there. It's going to be who wins the battle of the run, because for Depew, Carson Alberti is the guy you look at right there, right? Alberti's had a fantastic year against Lackawanna last week, goes 20 carries, 120 yards, and 2 touchdowns. But the team we haven't talked a lot about has been this Eden North Collins team. Their quarterback is a running quarterback, and you're going to see a lot from him in this game. That's Matt Sweet. And in the game against Alden, right, goes 12 carries, 181 yards, and 2 touchdowns. 181 yards on the ground by the quarterback. Right? What does that say? I mean, it just shows you they're ready to run. Austin Serrata is another one who will run the ball for Eden. He went for 11 carries, 91 yards, and 2 touchdowns. And then not afraid to pass the ball, but they will if they need it. But again, another running back, Quinn Harrington, 7 carries, 47 yards, and a touchdown. It shows they got 3 guys that will run the ball. They can run it effectively. The question is who's going to win out? Which defense is going to win out? Does somebody stop Alberti, or can someone stop this running attack right now that you see happen from multiple guys?
All right, C South. Let's jump to Fredonia. Cassadaga Valley are going to face off tomorrow night, or on Saturday night, I believe, the 16th. Threw me off here for a second. Yeah, Saturday night. Cassadaga Valley's missing a couple games because of COVID issues, but these are 2 undefeated teams, and if Cassadaga Valley can pull off a run off a short schedule, they can make their way to the top of the C South.
Okay, so Fredonia Southwestern may go against us. It's the game of the thing in Section 6, right, last week. for Fredonia and Southwestern. Have you heard about that game?
What happened last week?
Yeah.
No, you know what? I think I missed that one.
Oh, unbelievable there, right? Time expires. Southwestern scores, goes for the 2-point conversion. Fredonia ends up stopping them. They get a 27-25 victory right as time expires in that one. Unbelievable, right? How about Matthew Lauder down there in Fredonia? This truly, I can tell you right here, is a team that truly has got a two-pronged attack. They can pass the ball. They can run the ball. We got a chance to see them down at Salamanca play, right? For the first half, Lauder doesn't even run in that game. Still goes for 140 yards in that game. Here's Lauder right now, goes 140 again. Nick Whitfield, instead of using the arm, carries the ball 9 carries for 130 yards and 3 touchdowns. This is another kid, can do it by the arm, by the leg, all the different things. And I want to give some special credit out. I talk about this almost every broadcast I could talk about. The difference to me of you winning and losing a game, right, is going to be special teams. Special teams comes into play in almost every high school game. Simon Davis down at Fredonia is having a year down there as he returns his second touchdown right now on special teams. He is unbelievable. When he gets into clear space, watch out. He's finding the gaps, getting through. Second return this year. You haven't heard a lot of that right there.
All right, let's take a break, Tom. We still got D's, and we still got a little Monsignor Martin action to talk about. We even got a non-league game I want to get into as well. So you're watching the Western New York High School Football Weekly, Episode 7, right here on Western New York Athletics.
When it's time to sell your home, start with a visit to howardhanna.com, ranked the #1 real estate site for sellers. A few clicks will show you the sales price you can expect for your home. We can get you the most money in the quickest amount of time because we know where the local buyers are and how to reach them. So if it's time to sell your home, visit howardhanna.com today, and we'll match you with a local Howard Hanna agent to sell your home fast.
I love being home.
Avoiding care can lead to worse problems. Don't delay care. We're here for you. Western New York Immediate Care provides quick, quality care for non-emergent injuries and illnesses. Go to wnyImmediatecare.com for more information.
All right, welcome back to Western New York High School Football Weekly, Episode 7. Before we talk about D and Monsignor Martin, we're going to take a look at Tom's top performers of Week 6. Tom, let's start with the quarterbacks. I know you talked about a couple of these names, but we got to give them some more recognition because they had fantastic weeks.
Yeah, we talked about Casella already, right? 412 yards, 3 touchdowns, an interception, 4 carries, 20 yards, and 2 touchdowns. Noah Willoughby, South Park, right? 321 yards, 4 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. Brandon Legans, McKinley, 11 for 15, 285 yards, 3 touchdowns. He did have 4 interceptions, but you can see the yardage was there with a lot of touchdowns. He also carried the ball, 8 carries, 76 yards, and a touchdown. That's 4 touchdowns he accounted for. Jason Green, we talked about at Lockport with 271 yards and a touchdown. Trey Kleitz is here every week putting it up and again does the game-winning drive. This kid's incredible. If you haven't got to see this play, he can not only do it on the football field, but we're going to be talking about him on the basketball court, right? 25 for 36, 263 touchdowns. Maddox Browning at Gowanda makes the list, 20 for 43, 260 yards and 2 touchdowns. Did have 3 interceptions in that one too. Aiden Kennedy, big in that Fredonia game, right? 15-31, 254 yards, a touchdown and an interception. Oh, by the way, carries the ball 17 times, 431 yards and 3 more touchdowns. There's 4 touchdowns he accounts for. Carson Marcus, star point, 253, 2 TDs and 2 interceptions. Ryan Cramp, Newfane, 211 and 3 touchdowns. Amari Jones for Albion, 197 yards and 2 touchdowns, plus carried the ball 9 times with a touchdown. Justin Horvath, 183 yards and 3 touchdowns. Jake Dustin over at Sweet Home, 180 yards and 3 touchdowns for himself. Xander Payne, we hear week after week, 171 yards, 4 touchdowns. Garrett White for Clarence, 8 for 11, 147 yards, plus carried the ball 12 times, 116 yards and a touchdown. Nick Whitfield only throws for 60 yards, but runs for 130 and 3 touchdowns. And then Matt Sweet, we said, only needed to throw the ball once for 18 yards, but carries it for 181 yards and 2 touchdowns.
All right, Tom, let's go jump into Class D. This is pretty straightforward, especially at the top. Randolph's 4-0. They beat CSP, who's in second. Meanwhile, the Wolfpack are 3-1. They just beat Franklinville-Ellicottville, who's now 2-2. So the big game we're watching this week is Silver Creek-Portville. They're at the 4 and 5 spots. Keep in mind, D has 6 teams, so the top 2 teams will get a first-round bye. So that 4 seed that Silver Creek and Portville are going to battle over is going to be a home playoff game in that first round.
Listen, like you said, it's coming to fruition right now. And if you're right there, you're Portville or Silver Creek, right? You want to at least get that home field advantage right there, and that's going to be a big game right here to see. Silver Creek, I know, had a tough game last week versus Timon that they played last week, which was out of conference. But no doubt, like I said, this should be a really good game that's right here for these two.
Yeah, that was, I believe, Timon's first win under new coach Matt Weiser, who takes over this year. Speaking of Timon, let's do a little Monsignor Martin talk. I don't know, things feel a little different this year. I don't know, because you don't have the smaller schools playing the larger schools at bunch. I know St. Mary's, St. Joe's played earlier in the season. We don't have too many of those crossover games, but it seems at this point we're all just twiddling our thumbs for
next week.
For next week when Canisius takes on St. Franny's down in Ethanol Springs.
We'll be there.
Yeah, we'll be
We're
there.
Going to be there. We're absolutely going to be there. I mean, St. Mary's, though, has been showing they are a great team. Their only hiccup right now has been against CSP, if you think about it, right? Otherwise, I mean, Lewis has just been unbelievable running back. 234 yards and 2 touchdowns he had against Springville. He has just been great. And I'm going to tell you, St. Francis is another one. I mean, I have them ranked right now as number 2 in the large schools. And the reason why I personally have them as number 2, I've seen them now play a couple times. First of all, that defense is unbelievable there at St. Francis. And take away the defense, right? Now you look at what they can do for that line. That line is huge. Like, you really don't see lines like this. I'm telling you, it's going to be a great game to see that Canisius-St. Francis matchup. I mean, St. Francis, look at it, just went out and shut down Erie. 28-0. Shut down Erie. The Ricardo kid, 21 carries, 178 yards. We've talked about him as another big running back in the area. Watch out, because I really believe that this St. Francis and Canisius game could be one for the ages.
I just want to. We're not going to see this, but we saw what St. Mary's did to St. Joe's, and I know Joe's is not the team that they usually are. They're not in the class right now of St. Francis or Canisius, but how close could the Lancers keep it if they played it either Canisius or St. Francis?
I'm going to go right to the line. Can they actually be able to stop the line that these guys are going to bring? Look at it. We've seen Canisius, what they do to Maritime.
Yeah, that's true.
I mean, look at what they did. I'm not saying that St. Mary's isn't a good team. You got a great team this year. But when you go up and you're going up in classes like that, you have to look at the line play. And can you get room for your running back? Can you make room to be able to run the ball? Can you do the things that you're capable of doing right there? I mean, look at it. You saw CSP right now beat St. Mary's, right? Can both of those teams go into a Canisius and a St. Francis and win the game?
It would be tough. You're right.
Because of
as
line.
Good as their running backs may be, line.
It's not a knock, right? And I'm not knocking the schools at all, because I guarantee you for a good portion of the game, it's going to be a great game, right? But it's once that line, that bigger, stronger line takes over, it's tough. It really is, especially as the game goes on.
All right, Tom, you have more top performers. Why don't you get to them?
So, and I apologize, I was just moving around as we moved around here, but let's talk running backs. I mean, I'm floored. We talked about some of them, right? McDuffie 6 touchdowns, Atkins 7 touchdowns, Buteris 6 touchdowns, Raymond 5 touchdowns. We just talked about Kidd. Nate Moody 6 carries, 151 yards, 2 touchdowns. Dewar 146 and a touchdown. Allen at Bennett, 141, 3 touchdowns. Pittman and only 118 yards and 3 touchdowns. And Michael Lancaster, 112 and 3 touchdowns, as the running backs were just unbelievable this week. They really were.
I think unfortunately for Jamestown and Butera, because of the forfeit, Butera will not have his top spot anymore in the top of Section 6. Right now he leads with about 1,200 yards. Xander Hine from Randolph is just behind him at 1,100 yards. So, unfortunately, then Jamestown isn't playing, so he will be passed, but Butera is having a fantastic season.
Yeah, to me right now, he's the front runner for the Connolly Cup in my eyes. What he has done just week after week after week has just been amazing. It really has. And not only that, the team right now is on top of one of the toughest divisions in football in that A South division.
And
right
handling themselves pretty well. They
had
a big lead on Will South and maybe allowed the Billies to get back at the end, but they really haven't been in any close games. They beat a very good Orchard Park team. We know who has 2 losses, but is a very good team in Double-A. So they are looking good, and got to remember, these kids are hungry, and they know not to take anything for granted.
Oh, especially after last year, right? You know that. You're going to be ready for everybody. And I'm going to tell you, you better be ready for the playoffs, because that's South, and then you add Grand Island in the mix, and now a possible, we're waiting to see a little bit on Sweet Home and Ken West and a couple of those other teams, right? As they're starting to get into a roll right now, we're seeing how they're going to stack up here very quickly as we're going to see them go head-to-head.
All right, we have a bunch of games going on this weekend. It starts, let me pull up my thing. It starts tonight, 7 o'clock. We talked about a little bit Hamburg, South Park, the Sparks really fighting for their playoff lives. They have to win tonight. They also need some help next week, but it starts tonight with a win, and Hamburg has a chance to clinch a playoff berth at 7 o'clock. You'll be on the call, I know. Will you be?
Jake Fyock.
We'll be with Jake Fyock. And then tomorrow we have 2 games on the docket. It's going to be a special non-leaguer, St. Joe's at Sweet Home. And then also at 7 o'clock, Allegheny Limestone at Southwestern. And then Saturday,
we just added a game.
Oh!
Okay, so we just added a game that we just got the approval to come in for just as we were ready to start the show. We will be broadcasting CSP versus Batavia, the new game that just came into the mix right now, which will be held at Depew. We'll be there also Friday night.
That'll be Friday. So we have 3 games on the docket Friday night. And then Saturday starts at 10 o'clock, Albion at Maritime, B North Division on the line. And then 2 o'clock, I'll be producing the game, Starpoint at Kenmore West. And that's a game with major postseason implications as well. 2 o'clock kickoff. So tons of high school football we'll have on our air this weekend, 3 nights in a row. And then we're hoping to get some more early next week as well as we go into these playoff, go into the post, get ready for the postseason. Keep in mind, we're in week 7. Normally we'd be talking about rivalry games, Kenmore East, Kenmore West, Battle of the West Senecas, but we got an extra week this year that was supposed to be in last year, but obviously the pandemic, that didn't happen. But this is I kind of consider this is kind of the bonus week of football, and we'll do the rivalry stuff next week.
Which you can't wait for. I won't lie to you. We got some big rivalries coming up.
And then Canisius St. Francis will just be the nice cherry on top on Saturday night.
Yep. So why don't we take a quick break, and then we're going to do our Freak of the Week and also let you know about some of the other stuff, and we'll finish out the show.
All right. We'll be right back on Western New York Athletics.
When it's time to sell your home, start with a visit to howardhanna.com, ranked the #1 real estate site for sellers. A few clicks will show you the sales price you can expect for your home. We can get you the most money in the quickest amount of time because we know where the local buyers are and how to reach them. So if it's time to sell your home, visit howardhanna.com today, and we'll match you with a local Howard Hanna agent to sell your home fast.
I love being home.
Avoiding care can lead to worse problems. Don't delay care. We're here for you. Western New York Immediate Care provides quick, quality care for non-emergent injuries and illnesses. Go to WNYImmediateCare.com for more information.
All right, welcome back to our final segment of Western New York High School Football Weekly, Episode 7. We're going to get to top honorees. Let's start with Trench Trophy. Here are the nominees for Week 5, right? No, yeah, Week 5. Losing track of my weeks, and we were just talking about the extra one. Caleb Bain from Jamestown, Alex Coder, Pioneer, Alex Crudis, West Seneca East, Brendan Larabrun from Albion, Jabari Lee, Kenmore West, Drew Massico, Frontier, Isaac Quick from Grand Island. Those are the Week 6 Trench Trophy nominees.
And remember, I always tell everybody this. Remember, this is a senior award. So
Yeah.
I know you may know there are some great, linemen out there. Rashad Perry being one of them, right? No doubt one of the best in Western New York. He is not a senior and is not eligible for the Trench Trophy Award. Just so everybody understands what that award is.
All right, Connolly Cup. I believe I saw some repeats from previous years, from previous weeks. So I know in the beginning couple of weeks they don't repeat names because they want to get as many guys recognized as possible. But I think we're starting to get in that back half.
You go to it now, yep.
Yeah. So, all right. So it starts Dominic Allen from Bennett, Jermaine Atkins, who we talked about, Kenmore West, Jalen Butera gets another nomination from Jamestown, also as well. Ben Gosella from Orchard Park, Bryce Hinsdale from CSP, Aiden Kennedy, Southwestern, Ricardo Kidd, St. Francis, Trey Kleitz, Iroquois, Christian Lewis, St. Mary's, Austin Lippert, Frontier, Teddy McDuffie Jr. from Amherst, Nate McGoldrick from Iroquois, Clarence's Scott Raymond, Matt Sweet from Eden North Collins. They have a big game tonight. Nick Whitfield from Fredonia. And finally, Noah Willoughby from South Park, who has a big game tonight as well. Tom, this is we're got finale of the show. Who is the freak of the week?
This was tough. I'm not going to lie to you. We really struggled over it. Frank and I had some multiple conversations, and it really, I think, the final tiebreaker was really the competition that was faced. I think is what it boiled down to, just because there were some different levels of competition that were out there, right? No doubt, Teddy McDuffie at Amherst had an absolute amazing day. No doubt over at Ked West, and please, I'm blanking on my
Jermaine Atkins.
Thank you.
He had a record-setting day as well.
7 touchdowns. Unbelievable what Atkins did over there. Our freak of the week, though, this week is going to go out to Clarence and Scott Raymond. What he did, where he put that Clarence team on his back, both offensively and defensively right there. And I don't want to downplay Garrett White, and I don't want to downplay it, but I thought Raymond was unbelievable with 5 touchdowns and did it against Orchard Park in a must-win game. That was what kind of gave us a little bit of the edge right there. And please, we're not taking anything away from Atkins or McDuffie, right? They were phenomenal, right? And no doubt in any other week would have probably been there. That was just kind of like a tiebreaker to us.
And you know what? That Clarence Orchard Park game had huge playoff implications. They're both very good teams. Yep. And I'll say something to Jermaine Atkins out there, or guys like him if you're listening. You have a big game this week. And if you can put up that kind of performance again against Starpoint in a game you really need to win, that's only going to help your case for a Connolly Cup, for Freak of the Week. So to guys like that, focus on the next game. If you have a big game coming up, show your stuff in that game as well.
Listen, McDuffie, Atkins, my hat goes off to you guys. You guys were incredible. And I'm going to keep preaching how great you did, right? It was just kind of like a tiebreaker right there. And but I also want to give Scott Raymond just an unbelievable, kudos. I've been talking a lot about Clarence the last couple of weeks, and no doubt, a lot of proud people over there in Clarence. They deserve it. They had a big win, and definitely thought they deserve their recognition. They haven't gotten it yet, right? So this is a week that they've earned the recognition. They deserve it.
And I believe Raymond is second in Section 6 in tackles as well.
So right there, both sides of the ball this kid's doing. And trust me, I watched him hit. He can hit. That kid got hit, I'll tell you that. Just unbelievable, really is. But a great week, and the fact that we're talking about just incredible performances this week by so many guys, it really is something.
All right, I think that wraps it up for this special edition. I'll call it special edition, late edition of Western New York High School Football Weekly. Be sure to tune in tonight, 7 o'clock. It's Hamburg at South Park. Tom Prince, Jake Fyack on the call. Thanks for watching the Western New York High School Football Weekly, Episode 7.
When you're ready to buy a home, start your search at howardhanna.com. You'll be the first to see new listings, find similar properties, and connect with a local Howard Hanna agent. Get started today at howardhanna.com.
Being home.